Well, from what we've been hearing, these attacks are very frightening for those who have survived them and those who have watched as their loved ones have been killed and have had to flee. The particularly horrible one is the attack on Baga, where people are talking about 2,000 dead, or in reality it's hundreds, but still, I mean, it's bad. We've been hearing people relating how they fled and saw Boko Haram actually shooting people as they tried to escape over the lake into Chad. So even as people were in boats, they were being shot at or being jumped on and stabbed. People who ran through the bushes and were running over bodies because they massacred just so many villagers. It was kind of a punishment attack against civilian vigilantes. These are probably the closest elections to call. Nobody's quite sure how things will go. You have on the one side the incumbent, who's President Jonathan, and the contender, who has been the contender in the last several elections, former General Bukhari, who in the past took over in a military coup and has been seeking election as the civilian president ever since. So we're really praying that there will be a peaceful election and that whoever wins, we will not be having any return of this violence. Boko Haram violence is bad enough. Well, I'd like to speak about what CSW Nigeria is doing, particularly. They have visited victims of violence, because another sector of this violence has been of armed Fulani herdsmen attacking non-Muslim villages. They have been often the first to go to some of these villages, particularly in the Kaduna area. They have gone there as the whole place is still smoldering. They've seen the immediate aftermath of some of this violence, and they've come back to these places with whatever they could muster in terms of clothing and foodstuffs, anything they could get to help the people, because by this time they've lost everything. So on that level, they're doing some really remarkable work. If the international community doesn't address it everywhere it appears, it will never address it effectively. So every area where there's a struggle against this thing should be addressed by the international community. Nigeria needs as much help as it can receive to actually deal with this thing. It goes across the country. It goes into other countries. It comes from other countries. I mean, Boko Haram has bases in other countries, so other countries need to get on board, and the international community needs to get on board just as they have gotten on board in terms of Iraq and Syria, and help to overcome this thing. It's the same thing. It's just, I think the Archbishop Welby called it a many-headed hydra, and it's appearing in different areas of the world with a different name, but it's the same extremist syndrome with the same ideology and the same aim.